Hello everyone, welcome to Think Global Education Services SAT Math class. Guys, today we're going to be discussing a very important topic, that is percentages. Okay, so we'll be discussing percentages. It's a very important topic in SAT. Okay, now how we're going to be proceeding here is we'll be understanding few formulas, and then based on those formulas we'll try to take one example. Okay, now the formula is very important here in percentages. And guys, one more thing before we start. Percentages is all about language, the way you read a question. Okay, so one word here and there and the equation will change. So what do we actually mean by percentages? When we say percentages, we simply say out of 100. That's percentages, right? So let's try to take very easy examples and relate that how do we understand language in terms of percentages. Okay, so guys, so we'll be doing these formulas that I've created. Now guys, here it says what percent of 50 is 40. Of course the question is very easy, but the point that we are learning here is what does this language signifies. So guys, understand this. When I say what actually means, I can say question mark. So what means the missing variable? Percent always means 100 out of 100. So when I say percent, it means out of 100. Of signifies multiplication, is signifies equal to. So what means question mark? Percent means out of 100, of means multiplication, and is means equal to. So guys, try to be mechanical in these kind of questions. Whenever you have these kind of questions, just be mechanical and make an equation out of it. So when I say what, let's say what is x, what percent? Percent means out of 100, of means multiplication, and is means equal to. So you'll just go ahead and solve for x. So I can isolate x and figure out the value of x. So x will come out to be 40 into 100 over 50. 5 goes 2 times, 40 into 2, that's 80%. You see, you just have to be mechanical. What means question mark? Percent means out of 100, of means multiplication, is means equal to. Write it as it is and go for the missing variable. Similarly, for the second part, when I say what percent of 40 is 50, so be mechanical. What means variable? Percent means out of 100, of means multiplication. So what percent of 40 is means equal to is 50. So again, I will go for that missing variable. So x, if I isolate x, x will come out to be 50 into 100 over 40. So 2 to the 4, 2 5 is 10, goes 25 times. So x is equal to 25 into 5, that's 125%. So you see, it's very easy. You just have to convert the equation, the language mechanically into the equation. So I hope this is clear. Now let's take a slightly difficult example on this so that you can actually relate what kind of question comes in your SAT. These two are pretty easy, just to make sure that you get what does what percent of and is means. So let's try a slightly harder question. So that's the first question. So here also I will not change the technique at all. I will just be mechanical and write down the equation as it is. The question says that if 10% of A is equal to 120% of B. Okay, so I get one equation from here. 10% of A is equal to 120% of B. So you see, I just made the equation mechanically. So let me simplify the equation. 100 will go away, 0 will be cancelled out. So from here I got that A by B is equal to 12. Okay, now let's see what the question is actually asking me. They are asking me then what percent of B is A. So what percent of B is A? So I'll make the second equation also mechanically. What means a variable, let's say X, what percent out of 100 of means multiplication, what percent of B is A? So I have written this equation mechanically. Now I'll go for this missing variable, which is X here. So when I isolate X, X will come out to be A by B times 100. And as I already know, I've already solved A by B. So I'll just replace here. So A by B is 12, 12 into 100. So X will come out to be 1200. That's option number C. So do you realize I've not done anything here? I've just replaced the language mechanically. So I'll just give you again, guys, what means question mark, percent means out of 100, of means multiplication, and is means equal to. Write down the equation as it is. Be as much mechanical as you can be. You'll never make a silly mistake, and till the time you read the last line, you made an equation, you get your answer. Okay, so guys, moving on with the next set of formulas. Now guys, these formulas, when we see something like this, that X is increased by 10%, X is increased by 7%, X is increased by 20%, X is increased by 50%. So how do we actually solve it? Now, whenever most of the students, whenever they see this expression that X is increased by 10%, the first reaction they have is this. They write X plus 10% of X. That's how they try to solve it. And when I solve it, it will be X plus 10 by 100 times X, which will be X plus 10X by 100. I'll take an LCM. So it will be 100 and 10X over 100, and it will eventually be 1.1 times X. So this is the procedure when we say something is increased by 10%. Now, guys, in your SAT, it's not a subjective exam, it's an objective exam. So you have to be really quick while solving your percentages. Now, guys, by the time you should know the fact that whenever something is increased by 10%, it always becomes 1.1 times of that. So you just have to add it to 100. As you can see, you'll just add 10 to 100, it will become 110. Divide by 100, so you'll get 1.1. And it will always remain the same. So by now you should remember that you don't have to do this every single time in your SAT. So whenever you see something is increased by 10%, you should directly know that will actually be 1.1 times X. Now the original has no role to play here. Original will still be X. You just multiply it with 1.1. Similarly, let's try the other one. If I say it's increased by 7%, so I'll add 7 to 100, that is 107. So it will actually become 1.07 times. You just add it to 100, divide by 100. So you should directly know these values, because you don't have that much of time in your SAT that you keep on doing the same expression again and again. Now when something is increased by 20%, I can say 100 plus 20 is 120. And when I divide by 100, I'll get 1.2x. Similarly, for 50%, if something is increased by 50%, I'll say 1.5 times. So you should directly know the factors by which you should multiply them. So I hope, guys, this is clear. Now, to understand that a little bit better, we understand for increase. Now let's understand it for decrease. The same thought process, if I put a question like this, that something is decreased by 10%, decreased by 7%, decreased by 20%, and decreased by 50%, what will happen to the values? Now guys, the same thought process. So let me give you the first one. If I say something is decreased by 10%, how do we conventionally solve it? X minus 10% of X. That's how we solve it. And when we keep on solving it, X minus 10x over 100, we take an LCM. So 100x minus 10x over 100, that will actually come out to be 90x over 100. So if you notice, if something is decreased by 10%, you just subtract 10 from 100. So that's 90. 90 over 100 will give you 0.9 times X. So guys, again, I don't have that much of time that I keep on doing this again and again. By now, you should really understand that if something is increased by this much percent, what will happen? If something is decreased by that much percent, what will happen? So here I can directly say if something is decreased by 10%, I'll simply subtract 10 from 100, that's 90. So it will become 0.9 times. Similarly, if something is decreased by 7%, so I'll subtract 7 from 100, that's 93. So it will eventually become 0.93 times. Decreased by 20%, 100 minus 20 is 80, so 0.8 times. Decreased by 50%, 0.5 times. So you should be really aware if something is increased by this much percent or decreased by that much percent, what actually happens. And you have to directly apply these values in the question to be quick. We don't have that much of time that we keep on solving this, because we know that, it will always come out to be the same thing. So if something is decreased by 10%, it's always 0.9 times. So I don't have to do the same thing again and again. So I hope this is clear. So let's try to take one example on this and relate it with a question. The volume of a certain solution was reduced by 30%. Okay. So it was reduced by 30%, then diluted by adding 100 ml of water. Okay. I added 100 ml of water. If the volume of the final solution is 50% more than the original volume. Okay. So we got this important information. Now let's try to decode this one step at a time. Let's say the original volume, they are saying what's the initial volume of the solution. So let's say the initial volume, let's say is V. So let's read this line, question one line at a time. The volume of a certain solution was reduced by 30%. Now we just learned, guys, if something is reduced by 30%, 100 minus 30 is 70, so it will directly become 0.7 times. So the volume of a certain solution was reduced by 30%, okay, 0.7 times V. Then what I did, I diluted by adding 100 ml of water. So I directly add 100 ml of water to it. Now after adding 100 ml of water, the final solution, so this is the final solution, is 50% more than the original volume. So basically it has been increased by 50% now. Now if the final solution is increased by 50%, it will actually become 1.5 times V. We already learned that. So guys, that's it. I have quickly made an equation. Now I just need what's the initial volume. So they're simply asking me the value of V. So I'll isolate V. So 100 is equal to 1.5 V minus 0.7 times V. So 1.5 minus 0.7 is 0.8 V is equal to 100. So 100 over 0.8 will come out to be V, and hence the value of V is actually 125 ml. That's 100 over 0.8. So from there we get an answer. So do you realize you don't have to do the same thing again and again? You should actually understand if something is reduced by 30%, it will become 0.7 times, and then the final solution is increased by 50%, so that actually becomes 1.5 times V. So I hope it's clear how do we make an equation out of it. Okay. So guys, moving forward to the next set of formula. The next set of formula is percent change. Now what's the formula for the percent change? Now the percent change is directly given to me by difference over original into 100. That's the formula for percent change. Difference over original into 100. Now guys, understand this, the difference always remains the same. The difference does not change. Difference will always be the difference of two values, that is higher minus smaller will give you the difference. But the original keeps on changing depending on what I'm calculating. So suppose I'm calculating percent increase. So the original will always be the lower value. And if I'm calculating percent decrease, the original will always be the higher value. So just have to keep in mind the difference will always remain the same, but based on what I'm calculating, the original keeps on changing. So if I say percent increase, the original will be the smaller value. If I say percent decrease, the original will be the higher value. Now guys, sometimes when we read a word problem, we are not really aware that whether they are asking me percent increase, whether they are asking percent decrease, they simply mention percent change. So in that case, I can, in a general aspect, I can say the formula is nothing but difference over with respect to into 100. So in a broader context, I can say the formula is nothing but difference over with respect to 100. So when you read a word problem, you will realize that with respect to this value, they're asking me the change, and that value becomes your original. So with respect to whatever they are asking you, that value becomes original. Now, sometimes if you're really not able to figure out whether it's percent increase or percent decrease, just focus on the word than. The value that comes after than will be your original. The value that comes after than will be your original. So we'll see this in a form of an example. So let's try to, do this. By what percent 50 is greater than 40? So when I say by what percent 50 is greater than 40, so the difference will always be 50 minus 40, greater than 40. So this than, so the value that comes after than will be your original. So greater than 40 divided by 40 into 100. So you see, it's actually percent increase. By what percent 50 is greater than 40? So if you relate, they're just asking me the percent increase. And I already told you, when we talk about percent increase, the original will always be the lower value. The difference will always be 50 minus 40, but it will be divided by 40 into 100 will give you the percent increase. Similarly, the H part, by what percent 40 is less than 50? So the difference is again the same, 50 minus 40, but this time they are saying less than 50. So with respect to 50, we need the change. So that value represents your original in 200. Now, if you notice, this is nothing but percent decrease, where I know that the original will always be the higher value. Or you can relate, the value that comes after than will be your original. So in this case, the difference is still 50 minus 40, but I'll ensure that the original is 50. Now guys, in the I part, you see, they are not asking me what percentage, they are asking me what fraction. Now guys, if the question asks what fraction, so I'll simply say difference over original. The difference will always be higher minus smaller, that is 60 minus 45. With respect to 45, they are asking me. Yes, greater than 45. So I'll just divide it with 45. That's it. I will not multiply it with 100. So guys, if they say what percentage, I will multiply it with 100. If they say what fraction, I will not multiply with 100. I'll just leave it like this. 60 minus 45 is 15. So 15 over 45. I hope you got percent increase and percent decrease. So the point is the difference will always remain the same, higher minus lower, but make sure you put your original very clearly, that if you're talking about percent increase, the original is smaller. If you're talking about percent decrease, the original is larger. So we're done with percent change. Now guys, moving on to the next formula, that's successive change. It's a very, very important formula in percentage. Now let's understand the significance of this formula. What is the significance? And then we'll talk about the direct formula that we have for successive change. So guys, for an example, let's say you want to buy a branded shirt that cost $100. Okay. Now you went to shop A, you get a discount of 10%. And then you negotiate it further, you get an additional discount of 20%. You go to shop B, you first get a discount of 20%, and then you get a discount of additional 10%. You go to shop C, now the shopkeeper directly gives you a 30% discount. Now this 30 is not a random number, it's actually 10 plus 20. So guys, if this is the case, which shop will you prefer to actually buy the shirt? The answer is of course C. We'll definitely go for C. It will generate the maximum discount. So let's try to understand how. So if I say the price is $100, I go to shop A, I get a 10% off first. So that means I have to pay only $90. Again, I get an additional 20% off. Now 10% of 90, I'll shift one decimal place, that's 9. 20% will become 18. So I'll subtract 18. That means I have to pay only $72 here. Now if I go to shop B, I get a discount of 20%. That means I just have to pay $80. But then I get an additional 10% off. Now 10% of 80 is 8. I'll subtract that 8 and again I have to pay $72 here. But here I get a discount of 30%. That means I just have to pay $70. So in this case, I saved 28 bucks. Here also I saved 28 bucks. But here I eventually saved $30, 30 bucks. Now, guys, by understanding this logic, we come to two conclusions. The first conclusion is the order does not matter. Order does not matter. So that means if I give you a 10% discount and then I give you a 20% discount, it really does not matter if I give you a 20% first and then I give you a 10%. Eventually I will save 28 bucks. And the second very important inference is two successive discounts will always be less than one collective discount. So as I can clearly see, 10% plus 20% off will always be less than a cumulative 30% discount. Yes. So 10 plus 20 will generate only, I will save $28, but when I get a 30% off combined, I saved $30. So two successive discounts will always be less than one collective discount. So this is the idea behind understanding this. Now, if I try to reverse the scenario, so successive change. So this time I actually, in this particular example, I decrease successively. Now let's see what will happen if I try to increase successively. So let's take an example where we see that we are increasing this successively. Okay. Now, same scenario, let's say I'm changing the context. Let's say A, B, C are three different locations. Okay. And you have three different flats in three different locations. And now you want to sell those flats. Okay. So let's say the base price of the flat is 100. In location A, the price goes up by 10% and then it goes up by 20% again. In location B, the price goes up by 20% and then it goes up by 10%. In location C, the price directly goes up by 30%. Now, which flat will actually give me the maximum profit? Now, this time A and B will give me the maximum profit. So let's understand how. So again, let's say the base price is 100. If the price is increased by 10%, the price will become 110. Again, it is increased by 20%. Now 10% of 110 is, I'll shift one decimal place, 11. 20% will be 22. I will add 22. That means the new price is 132. Similarly, if something is increased by 20%, so 100 is increased by 20%, it will become 120. Again, it is increased by 10%. 10% of 120 is 12. I'll add 12. So again, you see the price is 132. And if the price directly increased by 30%, I realize that the price will only become 130. So here I actually make a profit of 32. Here also I made a profit of 32. But here I only made a profit of 30. So again, guys, from here I can see two inference. First of all, the order does not matter. So guys, the same thing, order does not matter. So whether you increase it by 10%, then by 20%, or if you first increase by 20%, then by 10%, it really does not matter. The second more important Understanding is two successive increase. So if I increase something by 10%, then by 20%, two successive increase will definitely be more than one collective increase. So these are the 2 points that you have to really keep in mind. Two successive decrease is always less than one collective increase, and two successive increase is always more than one collective increase. And the order of increase and decrease really does not matter. Now guys, the logic that we learned here is actually can be understood by directly a formula. So we have understood the logic. Now let's try to directly understand the formula. Now guys, the formula for successive change is this. When I say a value change by A%, then change by B%, the overall net effect. So I can say overall percentage change, or I can say overall net effect. Same thing is directly given to me by A plus B plus AB by 100%. That's a direct formula to figure out the net effect, or I can say the successive change. But you have to just keep one thing in mind. If something is increasing, you will take it positive in the formula. If something is decreasing, you take it negative in the formula and directly apply it. So if I say that example that we took earlier, if I say something is increased by 10%, then again increased by 20%. So what is the overall impact? I can directly apply in the formula. Something increased by 10% plus 10, again increased by 20% plus 20, plus AB is 200 over 100. So I see 10 plus 20 is 30, 200 over 100 is 2, 30 plus 2, 32% increase. So if something is increasing, you take it positive, directly apply in the formula, get it done. So you know that the cumulative increase will always be 32%. Now let's try to do it for decrease also. So if I say something is decreased by 10%, again decreased by 20%. So let's see what's the overall impact. Something is decreased by 10% minus 10. Again decreased by 20% minus 20. Now be careful guys, minus minus will become plus. So AB will be plus 200 over 100. So minus 10 minus 20 is minus 30 plus 2. That means the overall impact is minus 28%. Now guys, don't get confused with the negative sign. If my answer is positive, that means it's a collective increase. But if my answer comes out to be negative, it simply means that it's a collective decrease. Okay, so don't worry about the sign in your answer, just focus on the formula. So just apply the value. If something is increasing, you apply positive. If something is decreasing, you apply negative. Let the answer come. If the answer is positive, it's a collective increase. If the answer is negative, it's a collective decrease. So guys, I hope this formula is clear. It's a very important formula. Now let's try to do one question on this formula. Now here guys, question number 3 says a stock for company X initially cost $250. Fine. On a certain day, the price of the stock fell by 20%. So what is happening here is the price of the stock is decreased by 20%. By what percent the price has to be increased so that the final price is equal to the initial price? So guys, they are saying that something went down by 20%. So I can say like this, that let's say A. So something went down by 20%. By what percent should I increase it? So by what percent should I increase it so that the final price is equal to the initial price? Now, what does this statement mean? When I say the final price is equal to the initial price, that means there is no change in the price, right? Or I can say the net effect is actually 0. So when I say the final price is actually equal to the initial price, that simply means that there is no change and the net effect of that successive change is 0. So guys, I already know the formula for net effect. The formula for the net effect is A plus B plus AB by 100%. Now, if something A plus B plus AB by 100%, that's the formula for net effect. And guys, if something is decreasing, I'll take it negative. If something is increasing, I'll take it positive, directly applying the formula. So if A goes down by 20%, so I'll take minus 20. B goes up by X%, so again, let's say plus X. Minus AB will be minus 20X over 100. This is net effect. And I already know that this net effect is actually zero because there is the final price is actually equal to the initial price. So I got the equation from here. Guys, I'll simply solve this equation. So if I solve this equation, it will come out to be taking an LCM minus 2000 plus 100x minus 20x is equal to 0. So minus 2000 plus 80x is equal to 0. So 80x is equivalent to 2000 and x will come out to be 2000 over 80, which you divide and you will get 25%. So this is my answer. So do you realize directly using the formula for net effect? Now, if you notice this 250 has no significance in the question. 250 has no significance. Now the initial price could be 250, it could be 1000, it could be 100, it really does not matter. So when we talk about successive change, the original has no role to play. And when you start practicing this, you'll start learning that the values always remain the same. If so something goes down by 20%, it actually has to be increased by 25% for the net effect to be zero. And again, guys, I'm telling this point, what do you mean by net effect zero? That means the final price is equal to the initial price. So that's how we can directly apply the formula for net effect and get the answer. So I hope, guys, this formula is sorted. Now taking one more example, a couple of formulas, and then we'll take one more example. Guys, as I already told you that percentages is all about language. Now, when I say that A is increased by 300% of A. So guys, when something is increased by 300%, the original will always be added. So it will always be A plus 3A. So you'll get 4A. So remember, when something is increased by, the original is also added. But when I say that something is increased to 300%, the original will not be added and it will only be 3A. That's a very minor difference. So one word here and there will make a difference, guys. If something is increased by, remember to add the original. But if something is increased to 300%, the original is not added, it will only be 3A. So one word here and there will make a difference in the equation. Be careful of these words, by and to. Okay. Now moving forward, guys, when I say X is increased by 15%, then decreased by 25%, what will be the overall value? Now you see, they're asking me in conventional manner, multiply it with something. And I already learned that when something is increased by 15%, so let's say something is X. Now that X is increased by 15%, I already told you when something is increased by 15%, it will directly be multiplied with 1.15 times. Now, after this increase, the entire value is decreased by 25%. So I again know that if something is decreased by 25%, you'll simply multiply with a factor of 0.75. So you should know that if something is increased by this much percent, what should I multiply it with? If something is decreased by that much percent, what should I multiply it with? So eventually it will become 1.15 times 0.75 times X. So increased by 15% and then decreased by 25%. So these factors should be clear to you, that if something is increased by this much percent, what should I multiply it with? If something is decreased by this much percent, what should I multiply it with? So let's try to apply this in a question. Again, it's a very good question. Let's try to do this. Wilson bought a microwave oven from a store that gave a 25% discount on its original price. So let's say the original price. So I'm assuming, let's say the original price is P dollars. Okay. Now, Wilson bought a microwave from a store that gives a 25% discounts on its original price. Okay. So if I get a 25% discount, so that means the new price will become 0.75 times P. I hope this is clear to everyone. So if something is decreasing by 25%, discount means decrease. So it will actually become 0.75 times P. Now, then what happens? So it decreased, gave a 25% discount. Then the total amount he paid was X dollars. Okay, I will pay X dollars, but there is some more information. Let me read that first. Including an 11% sale tax. So sale tax means the price is increased. So I have to pay 11% sale tax on the discounted price. So guys, this is the discounted price that I have. And if this price is increased by 11%, so do you realize this will be multiplied with 1.11 times. So first the price is actually decreased by 25%. So it becomes 0.75. Then this discounted price, I have to pay 11% sale tax. That means this discounted price is now increased by 11%. So it will be multiplied with 1.11. So this is the money that I will eventually pay to the shopkeeper, which is actually given to me the question as the total amount he paid was X dollars. So this is nothing but equal to X, the question. Now, what is the question asking me? Which of the following represents the original price of the oven in terms of X? So basically, they're simply asking me the value of P. So I'll isolate P, which will be X over 0.75 times 1.11. So if I look at the option, that is option number D. So again, guys, the same thought process. Something is getting discounted by 25%, so it will be multiplied by 0.75. Again, that is increased by 11%, so I'll multiply it with 1.1 times, and then I paid X to the shopkeeper. So this entire thing is X. I will isolate P and get my answer. So again, guys, in percentages, the language is very important. You have to read it very carefully, one line at a time. All the formulas should be sorted. If something is increased, what happens? If something is decreased, what happens? The formula for percentage change, the formula for successive change. And if you know that, these questions are easy. So I hope, guys, you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching the video. That's all from percentages. Have a good day.